Time. Yeah, you actually shooting.
Yeah.
Hi everybody, I'm Mattia and today we're going to look at basic pour over, and we'll see that making a good coffee is not hard at all, honestly. So to make a coffee at home you will need several equipment, to be fair. You'll need a grinder, any grinder, even a hand grinder, honestly, it's fine. Don't blade grind your coffee, please. If you do so, there is a videos about James Hoffman and how to improve on it. It's going to be linked in the description, but try not to. Hopefully you grind just before you are going to drink your coffee, otherwise it's going to be way less tasty. Fresh ground coffee tend to have more aromas and tend to taste better. Then water. Try not to use tap water for a simple reason. Tap water most of the times is not the best for coffee. It's going to give you flavor you don't necessarily want in your cup. So I would highly recommend either buy bottled water, where you know what is inside and tends to be a little bit softer than your area, or filter water. In this case we filter. Water actually matter a lot in coffee, way more than you expect, folks. Then you'll need a pour over. This is like V60, pretty standard honestly. Kind of like every specialty shop probably serve this, but you can have also a Calita, this is a flat bottom, or a Melita, even though recipe generally varies among them. Here we have a decanter. You don't really need one of those, you can use any container. Some people do it straight in the mug. Honestly, depends how much coffee you're doing it. It's just look fancy, this is why we love it. You need a scale. No need of a fancy scale, as long as it reads up to 0.1. You don't really need to have one every time either. You can just use your mobile. That's their multifunctionality for that reason. Filter. The filter of course depends where your what kind of pour over you have. This classic bleach V60, some CC coffee, and a kettle to warm up your water. So what we do is usually, first thing I do is usually I filter my water, fill up my pot. I usually boil it around 96 degrees. Some people might bash me for this, might say that it's too hot, you burn the coffee, you extract. Over-extract coffee is not a thing, it's just badly roasted coffee, guys. Get used to it. Good coffee, usually the more you extract it, the better it tastes. Start to warm up the water. Meantime, start to fold the paper. Usually you just fold the side. Some people do more fancy thing like fold in the middle and so on. It's not really necessary. What I want to show you guys is really no fuss. Just try out things for yourself. Generally speaking, when we do filter coffee, we do about 1:15 ratio. That means for every grams of coffee you use 16 grams of water. I highly recommend to use around 20 grams of coffee, so you have a pretty high coffee bed and the water is going to stay a little bit longer. It also depends by your grind size, but you'll see about that. But basically, then if 1:16 is too weak for you, just put a little bit less water. If it's too strong for you, just put a little bit more. Honestly, play with it. Most of the people suggest grind size and stuff. As long as the coffee tastes good to you, don't bother. Do it one way and then next morning try another one. Maybe try grind a little bit finer or a little bit coarser. You'll see for yourself. When you know that it's going too quick, you grind too coarse. Once like the water comes straight through and maybe it's like less than a minute 30, and we're going to see in the brewing, we're going to see brewing in a little bit, or you know it's going too fine when you're over 3 minutes. I would say over 3 minutes start to worry that maybe you're basically clogging, water's not going down quick enough. So we add our 20 grams. 20 grams in. done. We put it in our grinder. So usually most of the grinder have a filter setting. I would suggest to start with that setting and then see what you like and what you don't like. We grind a little bit finer in my house just because the burr are kind of worn out a bit. So you need to grind finer to have the same juiciness out of the flavor. The water is warming up. Everything is more or less ready. Start to put it in.
5 minutes later.
So the water now is hot. Once the water is hot, you need to pre-wet your paper. That doesn't just help to get rid of some papery taste, but more important, it actually pre-warm your brewer. So if you're going to put your bean when the brewer is cold and then water, some of the heat you want in your coffee, some of the temperature you want the water transferring your coffee to extract it will actually be absorbed by the brewer. So I usually give it a stir. While it warms up, I grind my beans. Once you have warmed up the water, throw the leftover water outside. And we'll put the brewer on the scale. Put the grind on top. And tare it. So after I put the coffee in, I usually give it a tap, so I kind of try to flatten the bed. Everything is there. I start my timer. As I say, you can use your mobile and pour some water. Usually we do, this phase is called blooming. Pour just a little bit of water so all your grind is wet. It's needed to release the gas. And I usually give it a good stir. This phase, what you really want is to make sure everything is wet. If something is not wet, it will make clumps, and that will basically not extract as much, and you will have a cup that is not as tasty as it could have been. 30 seconds, we pour the leftover. We say we do 1 to 16. So in this case we use 20 grams, so we do 320 grams left. I usually do 1 pour. Guys, you do whatever you want. You want to do 3 pour, 4 pour, 5 pour, you do whatever you want. I like doing 1 pour because this means that all the water, first of all, it's easy. Whoops, too much water. It means that all the water is in. I don't have to think about it. And what you have seen, you just seen me doing is like a stir. I like to give it during this part is called drawback. I like to give it several stir, so there are moving the coffee. Make sure there are not much of this grind you see on the side. If you have a big cake on the side, it means this coffee is not contributing to flavor because it's not touching the liquid anymore. Honestly, 1 to 16, 1 to 17. Try to give yourself an aim and stick to it, but it does not hugely matter. It's going to affect the change somehow, yeah, but good coffee doesn't require a lot of attention. If you have really good quality beans, if your roaster is really good at roasting, you don't have to do much work. Water, let it stay a bit, check the time, adjust your recipe accordingly to what you like, and honestly it's done. So once you see that all the water is drained, you take it, give it a scroll, and put it on the side. Give it a swirl. Coffee can tend to make several layers, where at the beginning of the extraction you extract way more flavor. So at the bottom there is more flavor compared to the top. So you give it a stir to make sure it's all even. Pour it and enjoy it.